DeconstructionFM.ning.com. 25 years and still setting the pace for others to follow.
First and foremost, right, listeners out there, okay, I've got a young gentleman in the studio. He goes by the name of DS Jammers. He's written a book, is that right, Eva? He's written a book, and
Decoding language. Now, the problem I have with this decoding language, right, as I was saying to you earlier on, and the man's here now himself, so he'll be able to explain to me. This is what this interview is about today. It's most definitely to promote his book, promote his road that he's decided to go down as well. And because he's a good friend of mine, I want him to be successful what he does, but I want to grill him same way because he's taking me now down the road where I don't understand. I don't like it when I don't understand things. I really don't like it when I don't understand something, and to me it seems to be nothing. And that's not being disrespectful to the man himself. But what I can't understand, decoding the language. Now, when you say decoding the language, I can understand, and I do understand, like, we have English and we've got the Greek language, we've got all these different languages. All right. But what is your aim and what is your goal? And why do you think that you need to be decoding languages and telling us about the true origin of words? Because, I mean, if I can simplify it or sound simple or sound right? No means no. Okay, burn means that something's hot. Okay, these are the words that are put in the dictionary. These are the words that we read and we see every day. So what is your aim, and why do you think that you need to decode it then, so to speak? What is it that someone like me don't understand?
Well, I think you need to be on a prosecution on that show. Well, basically, I'll just give you some statistics. You look at the top school in Britain is Eton. It's produced 19 prime ministers plus the royal family educated there. The current state of Britain now is 27th down the league in literacy. That's fourth from bottom. So they're teaching they're teaching the children something in the Eton that they're not teaching the rest of us. Why can they produce like politicians, leaders in one aspect of their training, and the other aspect we're just workers and illiterate and failing in exams? So basically they've got two different designs in place. One design is to make you a genius, the other design is to make you a worker. And inside the language is the answer to when you look at the grammar, you'll find out that basically the letters are designed to make you deaf, dumb and blind.
No, you've got me. No, you definitely got me there.
Right, basically,
so
all right.
You're going to have to elaborate.
I'll elaborate, right. If you look at a mathematical formula, you've got 1 + 1 = 2. They tell you how 1 + 1 gets to 2. When it comes to spelling, they just give you a bunch of letters. They don't tell you why these letters make you have to perform these actions in relation to the letters. So you've got all these letters, you don't know why these letters, you see these letters, you have to do something. In grammar school, they show you there's a formula that you put the letters to do, why it results in that action.
I'll show you.
I'll show you.
I'll be honest.
No. Basically, all right. So you take the word return. It's RETURN. They say RETURN is return.
Right.
But they don't tell you why does that equal return. In return, there's two sounds. The first two sound is RE. Every time you see RE, it means to go back. Remember, renew, recall, recuperate. Now, if a child knew that, he wouldn't have to spell. Then you got turn, so return. So, but the thing is, they don't tell you. You read it backwards to get how the answer is. So it's not when you see return, it means to turn back. When you see recall, it's called back. When you see renew, it's you get something new, you bring it back. So basically, you read the language left and right to get the full understanding of the word. The sounds, the key is there's sounds in the words and the sounds have got meaning. But they don't tell you that the sounds have got meaning. They just give you a bunch of letters to make you follow what you've been told to do.
So where's the negativity in that? Because let's say we're going to use the word return, right? Return, which I know is that you, as you said, you go back. I know that. So you come over like that. That's a negative. I can't understand. What's the negative there?
Basically, if you know how to put the words together, you go to grammar school.
Right.
When you put forward something, it's called a pro. Right. Produce means to make something come up. Projector means to make something go forward. Pronounce is when something comes out. So when you go to grammar school and you learn how to put forward words, you become a programmer. Programmer means I can give you words what you don't have no understanding of how I've done it, and you go to comprehensive school to understand the words that I'm giving you. So in one aspect, someone is giving the orders. The other aspect, the other person is following the orders. They don't know why they're following the orders, but it's in the system. If you look at the word learn, take away the L, you see the word earn. So I'm learning you to understand me. When you stand under somebody, that means you're not equal standing or not overstanding. I'm making sure I know more than you.
Yvette, do you want to interject here? Come around here. Come around.
Can I give you another?
So we can leave Jammers with it, because no, you come around. You interject here.
No, see, the thing is, why I'm open to what Jammers is saying is because I am a teacher, and so I have to be open to understanding what he's trying to tell me. I just don't know it. You know, I know some of what he's saying, but his delivery may not be what's being understood. But I believe in what he's saying in terms of what he has learned. Does that make sense? Because you see, he's taken a stance, a way of looking at grammar and phonics and language, and develop it into a book that is actually, I'm looking at it now, and it's very kind of easy to read. It's broken down with graphics, color coding, modern symbols and modern images. Plus, I can see some of the ancient images, and he has statistics and everything like that. But he is trying to get people to understand that when you read something, do not read it as you basically know it.
Can I try and break it down a bit clearer?
Yes.
For instance, everybody knows the word sound. A child knows what to do when you hear the word sound. It's something that you can hear and something that a child knows that. If I say to you phonology, now that's something you've got to think about to try and work out what is phonology. You've got to study to get a qualification in phonology, but phonology is just sound. That's what it is, just sound. So what it is, they've taken something that's simple, they've made it a bigger word, and so you've got to pay them now. You've got to go to a solicitor, you've got to go to a doctor to tell you what the basic simple word is. Mm-hmm. You see, they've made it more difficult for you to understand without giving you a skill. There's no skill in knowing that one is sound and one is phonology. So basically they're giving you just a big word, but they're not giving you a skill. So that way you have to understand me, because if you don't know what phonology is, then you've got to come for me to give you the explanation. When it's something really simple, so that's how words are designed to disguise the basic. Because we've got senses, so you should be able to feel, touch, and taste something. Mm-hmm. So you should, but when they give you a word that you can't feel, touch, and taste, you're just stuck in the thought. The next one is sentence. Everyone can see a sentence, but when I say syntax, you don't know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what an idea is, something you can imagine. But when I say semantics, So when I say phonology, syntax and semantics, that's a professor, that is. I need to study to know what he knows. When all he's telling you is sound, sentences and ideas.
Exactly. I personally understand you. Mm-hmm. You've broken down basically like common language and specialized language. It means the same thing. That's really what he's kind of saying.
Okay, all right, Jammer. But is it a negative? If it's been broken down into simple things, right? Like you said, phonology, right? If it's broken down into, why would we want to know the difficult words? Well, basically, you're basically saying is that someone that feels that as Yvette was saying earlier on, feels like they've got a suit on and I ain't got a suit on, they can use those words to, as you said, mislead me.
Make you feel like they're more intelligent.
They're more intelligent than me.
When they're talking about the same thing you are.
Right. So
they're just hidden what the reality is, something that you both of us know.
So the purpose of your book, the purpose of your book is obviously to move forward and get people to understand. But how is it going to help how's it going to help our people and society as it is right now? How's it going to help?
Well, it's going to give us more options to, because basically if you've got a problem, you know, you need a solution. So the more options you've got to work something out, it's the more successful you can be in having solutions, planning, doing your own thing, motivation. When your mind is open to other ideas, when your mind is not restricted, and when you, okay, if you've got somebody and they're using words you don't understand, they've got one over on you. But if you can now speak the language that they speak, you're on equal terms, and you can see the strategies that they're using.
So this means that we have to go back to school again.
No.
Or we're gonna have to all right, buy the book. No, I could understand buying the book, but me going out and purchasing the book, which is a good thing, right? Because all right, we want to sell the book, and but we want to sell the book, so we want the people them to read the book and shall we say act upon the book.
Yeah.
All right. So you go out. I'm a person that I might go out and buy the book now. I take the book home and I put it down. Yeah, man, read that tomorrow. Yeah, man, read that tomorrow. But again, at the moment, as I was trying to explain to Eva earlier on, we've got a society, especially our young society, young people. We're looking at the young people and they want everything now. How are you going to get over to our community, our people, our young people, that this is the way forward? How are you going to push? Because as I said before, right, is those words that you use, I mean, what's that word?
Phonology.
Phonology, right? To me, now you push that my way, and that's something new to me. And if someone said that to me off the cuff, I wouldn't know what they were talking about. But now you've explained it to me. So, but ain't this now all about completely changing the dictionary that we are now using? Our young people are using at the present time of moment.
That's the beauty of it. We don't have to learn another language. We don't have to change this. All we need to do is start hearing, because basically we're not hearing the sounds in there, so that means we're deaf. Then you're not seeing the sounds in there, that means you're blind. And if you can't see or hear the sounds in there, that means you can't speak it, so that makes you dumb. So basically it's just opening your senses, which is another good thing, to what is the language really saying. And the key to this is that inside the sounds is you can hear the sounds, you start to hear the language, it gives you an answer. So even with the youngsters, they like the rapping, this is going to improve their rapping and singing, because you can see like the word pen is a holding device. You put pigs in a pen, or you put a child in a pen, but you write with a pen. Inside the pen is ink. If you look at the word think, inside the word think is ink. So your thinking is directed by the words of a pen. So the pen is designed to put you in a holding device. You see, and then so the youngsters they're quick with words now. You know, the thing is, they've got more skill than the people who... If you look at Stormzy or Wretch 32, they've got the skills because this is really our language. We can play with the sounds, we can twist the words around. So once we can get them to recognise this is our science, what they've hidden for us, then they've got interested in words before. So if I come to a youngster and I say, be careful of being in a pen because you end up in a pen, then you could end up in the deep end, depending on your dependency on the pen. You know, then you lose your ability to see that when there's no pen, then it's open. Because when there's no pen, it's open.
Well, you see, you know what it reminds me of? You just like you talking when I was back in. Keithley's fine. He's listening.
No, I'm trying to get through. Yeah.
He's listening.
What he's doing is watching me. I'm confused.
I know it's not supposed to be. Yeah.
You know what's so deep? See, when I'm watching Jammers, I remember back in New York. I lived in the Bronx, 87. That was the beginning of hip-hop. Well, no, it was a bit before, but that's when it came out. And exactly what you're doing, making association with words to other images, is what those young men were doing, those young people. They were creating that image, that basic picture, that forum for people to express themselves, and it became understood. Now, let's be honest, I was an adult. I didn't understand what they were saying, but guess what? All of those youngsters understood, because they used the rhyming schemes, they used the associations with different things, just like what you just said. So I personally understand you. I don't understand everything, but I understand that fact of language. Language is used and can be designed to mislead you, but it also can give you that let's just say it can move you into different areas of thinking. It can give you an abstract thinking. There's some things that people, like they say, people, they read that Machiavelli book, 10,000 page book. not everyone understands it, but there's something in there with the language that makes some of these young men, like some of those early rappers, like KRS-One and them, they started to look at those words and they started to understand, man, this book's got to be written for a reason. And they most probably would have to research almost every page that they read to understand, but then they unlocked the key. And I understand what you're saying. Most of these words are difficult for regular people, but if you're willing to put the search in, and let's be honest, a lot of students would love this. A lot of people in university will love this. A lot of artists will love this because they have the abstract thinking.
And basically, well, I've proved it for myself because I went to go a teaching course and they said I wasn't qualified. And I said, well, I've invented a new way of looking at language, which if you turn a word the other way around, you get the opposite effect. Like, for instance, TIP. What's that back? Which is top. What's that backwards?
Top pot.
Yeah. Pits. You see how hard it is to do? Yeah. So one of the lecturers couldn't do that. You know. Then they said, "Oh, can you do another one?" I said, BUS. Turn it backwards. Which is bust or you bust out. So I've seen that. There's what that means is that, like, if I'm at the top of something, you could be at the bottom by me. But we just accept. Oh, we're at the top. Not realising that it's got another effect to you. So basically it makes you more aware of the words that someone's saying to you, because you'll be coming from a hot place and someone's coming from a cold place. What's good for them might not necessarily be good for you.
Right.
And that when you're buying a car or your clothes or eating food from someone else, you're really careful before you take that on board. But the thing that a word is going to affect your whole level of behaviour and whole of thing. So we've got to be more now critical or analyse the words that are coming our way to see if they're really benefiting us.
Right. Okay.
And what I've found through this research is that a lot of the words that we've been given are negative.
Right.
They're negative words, or they mean the opposite to what we believe they are.
Okay.
You see, and if you've got a wrong, if your car's not working at the start, how are you going to be driving around with the car like that? You see.
Because of the word start?
Because like if you begin a faulty engine to start off with,
okay, I understand.
You're not going to go as far as somebody who's got a brand new car. But basically, when I went on the course, they tested my ability, and I got 85% at A level. And this is without doing any lessons, any courses. So I for myself can see how this can benefit somebody who is young, because they will play with this.
Right.
You know, I've only got this at a late age, and I'm getting 85% without no lessons.
No, wonderful.
You know, and I've tested it on one of my children, and he was spelling words forwards and backwards, free. It was just, you know, so there is a potential, especially for the youngsters, to become geniuses.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah,
but okay. To become, you said, especially for the youngsters that become geniuses. Now, I'm going to say again, and I've sort of like brought it up with Yvette, okay, from time to time again, because I know that Yvette's a teacher, and I know that she's seen life just like you. I know that you've seen life yourself, but. The book. You put the book out. You're studying the words. You're going to go out there and you're going to try and get people to understand and turn the root. But how's it going to help our youngsters? Like you said, that i.e. you showed your son, and your son obviously his abilities are a lot there. But if you go for an interview, I go for an interview, and I may be understanding the words and lyrics. If they're stuck in their ways, it's not going to get me that job. I'm not going to be climbing the ladder any further.
Well, the thing about it is, you see, that is one of the most powerful things, is that a word at the right time with the right can change everything. So when you're skilled, that's why they say articulate. It's an art. So when you're skilled with words, especially like in courts, and you can understand what the person's saying, and you've got the right words and the right different, that gives you more power to get what you need. The more skilled you are at words, the more skilled you are, and when you especially realise that there's an underhand design with it, you're going to have more abilities, because everything is about words and thoughts.
But ain't you really saying that at the moment the situation is certain parts of society are using words to hold our people down?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, basically because they're not teaching that. But how are you going to go about? Because you're going to have to change the top, ain't you? You're going to have to change the people at the top.
No.
And surely if
you don't have to change the people, it's the ones at the bottom, it's the children you need to change so they can see at the start. Because basically words, as I said, it's about your senses. It's about opening your mind. There's more behind words than just the lines they give you. So if you can show the youngsters that you can play with words, you can turn words around, you can feel, sense and hear the words, then you've given them the seed that they can grow into the tree. You see, so it needs to be at that starting point.
So the being at the starting point, isn't you're going to have to basically change the dictionary?
Yes, I'm in the process of doing that, of producing a book.
Producing a book?
Yeah, that's like a dictionary, but it's got the root. It's tell you the root words. So where the dictionary is just giving you a meaning, and a mean man don't give you nothing. This is actually giving you the actual, what I'm talking about, the sounds in the words. So when you look at the sounds in the words, then you start to you'll be able to pick up what the words mean without having to spell the words. So it's the roots. So it's the roots. I'm giving you the roots rather than the meaning, and everything starts with when you're driving a car. The route. If you know the route, you know how to get.
So how long do you think this road that how long do you think it's going to take? How long do you think the road's going to be for you to? I have to say convince our young people that this is the way forward. Well, how long do you think it's going to take? Well, or what is it going to take?
Well, basically, you see, with us, we absorb things just like that. You see, so it just will take. It will just take. Once the information goes out there, it will spread. But of course, I've got to be able to display the skill myself. You know, so I've got to be the example that other people will aspire to. Right. Because if I'm talking about words and you can't see anything from me, you know, like someone, like especially like you try to talk to your youngsters and you ain't got the gold and you ain't got the big car, they're not going to listen to you. Yeah. You know, so I've got to excel. Like they're rapping, I've got to be able to speak in the same way that they can speak and show them how you can use words and don't get sentenced by the sentence that makes you intense in the intensity, and you use your inner sense to see. So I've got to be able to express words like that language that they can relate to, and show them that I've got a greater ability using the knowledge and wisdom to get to that
Jammers, level. I think we got some on the line. Good afternoon. I thought we had.
Good afternoon, brethren.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad. What can we do for you this afternoon? Kwame, I take it?
Yes, it's Kwame.
What can we do for you, Kwame? I've got a guest in the studio, Mr. Jammers. Yeah. Have you got a question for him?
I just got home and I've just been listening a little bit for about 10 minutes now, and I decided to share a little bit of my knowledge as well with what the brother is saying.
Well, Jammers is here. Go on, you can go ahead. Go ahead and explain. Or ask him anything that you want to ask him about what he's... You said you've been listening for about 10 minutes. Are you impressed? Can I use the word impressed?
Any word you want to use.
Are you impressed in any way, Kwame?
Am I what?
Impressed with my guest in any way?
Do you think he's making any sense, Kwame?
If you just be specific and...
Kwame, do you think that DS Jammers is making any sense?
Yes, because you see, sister, we have noticed something from our own history. And if you look at ancient Egypt, when the Greeks arrived in Africa, we've realized that a lot of names and Greek words have been added to them. You see, so you can't detect this unless you know about Africa, the languages and which one overlapped the ancient Egyptian language, because it's all one language and it spread the whole continent some time ago, thousands of years ago. I will use the word Memphis. You know the town Memphis?
Yes, sir.
Memphis is now Cairo, yeah? That was our second city after Thebes. Then Memphis was the last city our ancestors built, the white city of Memphis. They call it Memphis. But you see, we realize that in Africa we don't use cis. CTHIS. So what happened is, brother, we realize that there are some names that have been put, Greek has added their words to it, just to confuse people, to take your eye from it. So you wouldn't realize these people they're talking about were African people.
Kwame, listen. I hear what you're saying, and this is exactly what I'm trying to ask Jammers, and I suppose Yvette as well. And I'm asking you this: do you really think that people at the top, society, different or white people or whatever we want to label them as, all right, are putting words out there for us to not to understand?
Yes, to confuse.
And you obviously believe that
historically, also to not to realize that actually you're dealing with your own people.
All right, Jammers agree. You think so as well, Jammers?
It's facts, because you just look at the evidence. Who's the most successful in society? It's the people who are using these words.
And you think the same as well?
It's not even a thinking thing. It's factual evidence.
All right, let me ask all three. Let me ask one question to all three of you. All right. If this is what they're doing, right, putting the words and certain facts in front of us, all right, to mislead us, misguide us, all right, ain't our race, our people, intelligent enough? Ain't we been intelligent enough for how many years now, like yourself, all right, to notice this and to make a change? And why does it take like individuals like Jammers, maybe Yvette, and yourself, Kwame, all right, to be? How comes it's taking so long? Why is it a small amount of people doing this?
Well, Brethren, you see, I've been teaching my children. It is not me alone. I realize that there are people who've been dealing with our own history also realize this. I mean, Memphis, if you cut it short, if you take the PHISR from it, what you got is MEM, MEM. And MEM is a city in Ghana. And MEM means a land with date palms and palm trees, which is Egypt. You see, that area was full of dates and palm trees. And MEM is a city in Ghana, MEM. And then if you look at MEM in Memphis, then they put PHIS to it. You see, so what the problem here is all individuals. You see, this is a personal thing, really. People reading and show interest in our history, and then you realize, look, I'm not coming across really African names here. So what's going on? See, so really, you decided to work it out yourself. You see, and then I've been teaching my children, and a lot of people who actually come across also mention this, and I say, oh yes, brethren, this is what it is. You see, I mean, you have name for Ammon. Ammon is Ammonopis. What is Ammonopis? It's Ammon. You see, so where is this PHIS? It's Cis. Cis is coming from where? It's a Greek.
Yeah.
See, but sometimes you need to know exactly what your languages, and when you're dealing with languages, you must be able to speak it in order to understand these things. You see, I haven't actually looked at European side. I've been dealing with African things because that's our thing.
Right.
So what the brother is saying, yes, I agree with him. It is there. They use it. They do it. For me, what I see is just to take your eye from yourself and your history.
Right. I just want to add my point about to Keithley's question. I believe that what is confusing is if the foundation of language is out there and there's all these books, all these words and all this writing, why do we not teach it in school above primary school? That's always been a thing that I've never understood in America, because I have the background, so I know phonics. I actually did like primary school in America phonics program, and I remember how important it was. But then I'll go to another school and it's like, phonics? Ain't no English teacher got no time for phonics. And I'm like, what you talking about? You've got to teach these children who don't know how to read and write, 6 and 7, those sounds and stuff. You've got to take time. You've got to make them understand and make associations. Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. And you just want to do holistic or whole writing. But you haven't broken down any of those words sounds in that word. And I just used to be so confused, and I just used to get like upset as a teacher or an educator and do my own thing. And I think that's what a lot of educators do. We have our own knowledge about what we find is important. One thing I have seen in a KS3 school, they actually, grade 10, year 10, they give them grammar books. Now, that is not known in the UK, So these young people haven't seen grammar or grammar, things, adjectives, what do you call them, prefixes, suffixes since they were little. And so all they do is go along, like you said, jammers, go along, read, just read, no consciousness, no nothing, no awareness about anything, no connections. And then they get to year 10 and you give them a grammar book. Well, I personally believe the grammar book is worth it at that point, because what those children usually do is go back to that day when they were taught it and they review it, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I haven't done that in years. And they pick up and they build a new sense of awareness that they have lost. So I personally believe it's a lot of confusion going on, but I think it's done, from my perspective, through non-teaching. And if you give society, if society gives the schools, you know, the role to teach the children, then do it right.
Okay, Kwame, I'm gonna let you go, Kwame, because we're really and truly we're interviewing jammers here. But thanks for your contribution, thanks for your call this afternoon, and we're interviewing. I don't know if we're interviewing or we're talking with jammers here, because I'm sorry, I'm sorry, call me stupid or whatever you want to do. I'm still a little bit confused of the role or the road that DS Jammers really wants to go down, and. I suppose basically what I'm saying, we've got people like DS Jammers, we've got people like Yvette, we have the cameraman here, we've got really and truly, we've got some real influential and great people in our society as it is. But I still don't know the aim and your goal, Jammers. This is what I want to know, your aim and your goal. You say that you went somewhere, I don't know if you said you went to university or college, but you went to go and get a degree. All right, and they didn't want you to. They said you weren't qualified enough.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
So the degree that you went for, what did you want the degree exactly for?
Well, basically, I wanted to get a qualification, the certificate that level 3 English and a teaching qualification, so I can teach.
So you can teach.
Yeah. So to get the paperwork. But what I found, I've had to go back. So basically, I'm getting all this knowledge, but then I've had to go back to get the paperwork.
Right. Okay. So now you've got the paperwork. It's a little bit like what Yvette was saying a minute ago. You've got the paperwork, and I think you said that you qualified now, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet. But that's going to be your aim. But are you going to be going into schools, or are you going to be willing to work in a school?
That's what I'll be.
Like your local primary school, junior school, secondary school.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going? And how do you think that you will be able to fit in? It's just like yourself, Yvette. How do you think that you're going to fit in if society is now the way it is, and if these negative aspects that you're telling me, okay, is the reason why you've produced this book, all right? If these negative things are out there, how do you think that you are going to push forward and get forward to help the up-and-coming young ones to understand what you're trying to do here? How's that going to work if we've got so much negativity at the top at the present time and moment?
Well, the thing is, it's at the bottom where the treatment's needed, because I'm going to go in there and with my explanation of how the language is put together, enlighten these young minds what to look for, how to process the language, and how to use your brain to analyse and work out the language for yourself. And also I'm going to be setting up my own schools as well, to my own teaching, do private teaching as well to do that. And that's why I'm bringing this book out, which is the roots of words.
But you still, okay, you're going to set up your own private thing, and I see Yvette vigorously nodding her head as well. That's good, but do you... Well, obviously, you think that you need to get in the already established schools before you can do that?
No, that's just a sideline, because basically you need a qualification. I need to see what's going on in there, and I need to see how I can input my knowledge in. But because the funny thing, at the top level, the lecturers are already impressed by... I went there a year ago and I got blocked, and they've invited me back there. So the lecturers are already impressed by what I'm doing, because when you talk a fixed way and somebody comes along and they're doing something that's in a different way, they're impressed at the top. So they're rushing to get me through. So that means if I can impress the people at the top, then I should be able to access the people at the bottom. So
your aim is to break down barriers that are already put in their places.
Exactly.
This is what I keep going back to. I don't know if it's that I keep backing up and I keep blacksiding or what.
It's good because
why is it that people, because there have been as far as I'm concerned, some influential people and some positive people. As I said, we've been basically, both of us have grown up in a community where we've seen things and we've seen some influential people. But even you've got to admit there's some influential friends that we have that's got to a level and literally it's got knocked back down to ground level again. And you're saying that we've got to be dealing with the situation from ground level, but there's lots that's come before us and hasn't succeeded. I'm not saying that we should give up, and although I've come over that way to my colleague here, and I've come over to a lot of our listeners that I've literally given up, because I have literally given up with trying and trying, because I see people like yourself, I see people like Yvette, right? I see people like down to even your cameraman that's doing great things, right? But doesn't seem to be able to elevate themselves any further because of what you're trying to teach me, right? And obviously our listeners and younger people, right? But all the teaching that you're giving, right, and all the advice that you're giving and the rest of it does not seem to budge these people that are in control. Why?
But the thing is, that's not my objective. Is not to budge. Is to we don't need to worry about the people who are controlling. We can control our own environment and our own potential. We don't need somebody else or to control us. We can set up our own objectives. And what I'm saying is about the language, just like patois, just like the youths bring out a new style of language, it just spreads like wildfire. So it's not that hard to, especially the thing about it is if you'll never tell a lie to your children, so if there's a lie to be told and we can tell the truth, that is the starting point, because at least when you know the truth you've got something to work with. And the reason I say why previously we haven't been successful, because there's a thing in the language system that none of us have really looked at.
So you accept the fact that we haven't been successful then?
To a certain level, yes. To a certain level, yes, because nobody's really tackled this language. Because we look at shoes and clothes, but once you're using the language and you're accepting the language you've been given, you're under it. You understand, and when you understand something, you haven't got equal standing, and you can't stand over them. So we have taken this language and not really looked into it, and that's blocking our true potential.
You see, one of the things I'm going to say is that you can't have a best-selling book without having people who understand what you're saying. People do understand. There's lots of people who are confused because they've gone through the different stages of education, And I can just say this, from primary school to high school, there is such a disjointment that is amazing, because children do not understand the foundation of the language. But they're expected to go into college and write, 10-page thesis and all of this. And that's just the one part of the exam. But they haven't even broken down any of the language, and they haven't been taught it either. So where do they get the knowledge from? From immigrant parents? No, they can't. You see, and this is part of the problem. There's been successful people because they know they have to go out of the box, so to speak, seek help or guidance from other people or other educators who don't think with this inside the box. And really, the box in education is the curriculum. The curriculum tells teachers and the school, this is what we're going to teach our children. But I'm at home, I have my own curriculum. You're at home, you have your own curriculum. It's got nothing to do with school. It's got nothing to do with anything. Back in America, just going to digress, there are home schools. Home schools are the new phenomenon. They take that. I took my oldest boy out, and I did not let him deal with the school system because he didn't feel like he fit in. However, he's 27 now, making money, doing what he needs, and has a high school diploma. The thing is, you can do what you want to do, but it's got nothing to do with the system. You work in and around the system based on your needs. My needs for my son was that he wasn't doing regular high school at a certain point. It wasn't giving him what he needed. Go home and do it. That means he's got to be his own researcher. That means he's got to be his own advocate. I've got to advocate for him. And I've got to push him to understand. And the thing about what I'm going to say to you and why I say it is because my son was a hip-hopper. Right. A rapper. His thinking was, there's got to be more than what I'm seeing. The boredom in reading was like killing these children's minds sometimes. It's got nothing to do with anybody but individuals. Some children love the structure of books. There's nothing wrong with that. But when they grow and get out of school, that's when they soar and start looking at different elements to language and different areas, you know. But while you're being taught what you got to do, what you got to say, how you got to say it, that is confining.
Definitely. And I think on my side, I'm proving myself with the evidence. I've come out of a car. I was living in a car for 2 years. All I had was my mind, thinking about the words in a different way. From that, I was able to make notes, what impressed my friend, to write a book. Then I had to put the book into action to see if what I was writing worked. From the book, I've created a speakers club, which is, I do a monthly thing encouraging people how to speak.
You got to invite.
From the speakers club, I'm developing a talking academy, which is in teaching. So the speakers club is a platform for you to speak, because we never get a platform to speak. We always listen to so-called experts, but we're never getting a chance to speak ourselves. So the speakers club is for you to speak yourself. Then the talking academy is training you how to speak. Especially like when the one what we're doing now is like in an argument, you have to be skilled at speaking, especially in a disagreement, because this is why our children are killing each other, because they do not know how to have a conflict with somebody and resolve the conflict. You see.
Right, with words. It's usually
with words, yeah. So that's but in the old days, we, you know, there's not bad man, but we could resolve our conflicts.
Gotcha.
You know, so
yeah.
So tell us a bit more about these clubs or shall we say events that take place. The Speakers Club, is it a regular place?
It's a regular. It's a Birdie Grant
How
Arts.
do you find you?
Birdie Grant Arts Centre. Do it once a month. The next one's going to be Black History Month, the 30th of October.
And it's
Tottenham. Which is Tottenham. And I mean, just tune into, now we've made the link, just tune into Station FM and you'll get all the information on the Speakers Club, talking academies and all the...
But are we sure we're going to get it from you? Because this is another problem that we have with words. We talk a good talk, but and I take it we're using words, but when the time comes, you leave out the studio now, we won't hear nothing more from you. What else is happening with Jammers itself? What else is happening?
I'm all over. I can't hide because I've come out. I've fronted the Speakers Club. I'm all over the internet. I'm doing this. Now I'm putting myself in like a courtroom scene with the Talking Academy.
When's this going to take place?
This is taking place next week, Saturday. I would like you to be on the prosecution because you already got me. You've already got me struggling already. So it's all. I've come out. I'm going to be on about 7 radio stations the last 3 days talking about. I'm bringing the community out, talking about etymology, not a dance, not a rave. So myself, from a car, living in a car for 2 years, I'm now coming out, and the fruit is in the
living in the car for 2 years. Was that your choice?
No, it wasn't my choice. And I found out about it wasn't my choice to do words. I'm a DJ.
Why is it we have to go through so many tragic incidents, situations, all right, to produce great people like yourself? As I said before, I mean, as I said before, we've known each other from way back when the promotion came.
We're family.
Right? Yeah. For you to come and say that you're living out a car like that, I would turn around. If I heard that on road, I'd say, move. What are you talking about? No way. Where? Mm-hmm. So we've gone down that road, okay, and you've come out on the other side, and you've decided that you want to do something to help our community, help our young people to forge forward. And I have to be honest with you, you know what I mean? I'm going to do my utmost to come on that panel on Saturday.
Oh, thanks for that.
On top of that as well, I want to bring you back in because even I want to... I still want to challenge you on certain things that you are talking about and that you are trying to bring over. And I feel it's even better when I've got Yvette by my side, because as a teacher, but yet still I can't understand teacher at the moment, because we still seem to have a problem within our society. Today, one thing that I have, I suppose, got to grip on today, all right, which has changed my mindset a little bit, that... people like myself, my age group, need to go back to school, so to speak, need to start learning and reading books a bit more, all right?
And I think
not believing that we know everything.
Go back to school that
Just
way.
go back if you understand, going back to school that way.
Yeah.
Okay, but with what you are proposing and what you are putting forward, I'm saying, I'm thinking, if I'm thinking like that, I'm thinking like, well, how do you think? Oh no, here we go again. It's the next thing. I forgot to go learn this and go learn that, and I really ain't got time for that. I want to move on.
This kind of meet you, because they know, everybody. We even knew there's something ain't quite right. What's going on? You always had a little thought. So I think this kind of will unlock some of the questions that they've got about themselves, because the approach is because really they know there's something wrong with the system, so they're kind of against the system, and this kind of approach is kind of on their side, that they have got a reason to be, but this is the proper way to challenge the system, you see. So it's on their side of the fence.
On their side, is there any? Well, obviously there is room, but is there any at the moment new book coming?
There's a new book coming under etymology, the roots of words. And that's hopefully that should be in time for next week.
Is that going to be a follow-up to what you already...
Well, it's countering the dictionary, because the dictionary gives you meanings, and as I said before, the meanings is not the reality of the word, it's just a vague impression. So this is challenging the dictionary, giving you actually the roots, where the words come from. It's telling you where the words come from. So having this book, we'll have an advantage over having a dictionary.
Okay, so the book that you have now, for those that may want to pick up a copy, all right, to try and get to grips and understand what the hell Jammers is talking about. Some of you might be saying that out there, all right, because that was my first... You know what I mean? That was my first views of when I first read the dossier that you sent me. Hear them big words, though. Yeah. That you sent to me.
He's got me a big one. That true me, what?
That you sent to me. I was reading it, and as I said to you, I never read it to the fullness. I thought, let me pass this on. And I gave it to my other colleague, Candy, who's passed it on to you. And the first thing I asked, did you read it all? And my attitude, I didn't read nothing really, truly, because... And that was because of what I read that we put on the flyer to promote today's show, right? That you're an angry man, all right? So we've got 4 minutes or so left, right, before we're joined by Robbo Ranks. The part where he says that you're an angry man, what are you angry about?
Well, basically, it's sometimes as well, you've got to use an approach that people can relate. As you said, nobody's going to read etymology and language or something like that. But Vexmen relates to comic book heroes, which will capture the imagination of everybody wants to be a superhero. So there's another approach to just the basic words. It's a science of the mind and getting people... We can entertain ourselves as well. We don't need Hollywood to feel good. So the Vexmen is basically... I didn't really want to say this because this is supposed to be the show, but I'll say anyway. You can't really be happy because happy is in Kemet. You see, your mind has to be in Kemet to be really happy. And the concept is... Other races need maybe to be bitten by a spider or hit by a lightning bolt to get superpowers. The black man only needs to get vexed. That's his superpower.
Now, if there's something that I understood in this show today was that statement. That statement really and truly did say all. Again, tell us about what's it? The Speakers Club?
Yeah, the Speakers Club. Yeah, the Speakers Club. That's a monthly event where you come and speak. And you've got a minute to say, because another thing, we talk too long without getting a point across. Everybody's you can speak as many times as you want, but you've got a minute to get your point across. And there's prizes for the best speaker. And
do people choose the topics, or you?
We have a monthly topic that is picked, and we have some actors acting out the scene as well.
Oh yeah.
So actors will act out the scene, and then the audience pass their comments of what they've seen, and we've got a panel as well to discuss it. And then
interesting. So the minute speaking comes after you watch the role play.
That's right. Right, yeah. Cool. It's encouraging people to speak and interact, celebrate our differences.
Right.
So we come and speak. And then the Talking Academy is the training branch where we train.
And are there any costs?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm fronting it. So I'm fronting the Speakers Club, fronting the Talking Academy. The Speakers Club is absolutely free. The Talking Academy, we will start charging for lessons, and the book is where we and the shows is where I'm going to try to generate the income. So basically, so it's out of this back pocket. That's where it's.
Okay, it sounds very, very, very creative and.
No, very creative indeed. But just before we do go, I've got to I'm just digging. I don't care. I'm just digging. You say a moment ago, it's all coming out of your back pocket. All right, you are putting everything in yourself and all the rest of it. And this is it now. This is where now we have to, listeners. You've got to, if you don't even understand what we've talked about today, you've got to. How can I put it? You don't understand what we was really on about today, and maybe you might be saying, no, I'm not really into this, but what's he really talking about? Well, to find out what it's really about, go out and purchase yourself a copy of the book. All right, that's out there now. Tell us the name of the book and where they can get it.
The book is called Decoding Language, and if you just contact Station FM, DJ Keithley will be the direct link. Also, The Roots of Words, that's going to be the new book, and again, DJ Keithley will be the direct link for that. And basically, as well, I'm showing that we need to invest in ourselves, so you have to lead by example.
This means basically, okay, especially those of you listeners that like to say what Jammers has just said, we need to invest in ourselves, we have to look after ourselves. Go out, purchase the book, try and get involved, or try to find out where you can get a copy of this book. All right, as he says, I'm here, a link, all right, of how you can get in touch with Jammers. All right, I'm going to talk to him a little bit after we go. I'm going to talk to him and see if I can get some details of where to hook him up and the rest of it. Check out our website, all his details will be on there as well. And if you really do want to see a change and you do want to push people like Jammers, all right, and lots of people like himself, all right, let's just stop the talking and assuming and what's not, and let's just get down and do it. All right, because I have to admit, today's show, all round from the beginning up till now, even though you came late, but at the beginning, all right, I've been changed somewhat in some sense, some places. I've been changed a little bit, but I'm gonna keep my eye on him. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. He's a long time friend, and I suppose we lost our paths a little bit, but I'm going to keep an eye on him, and I'm sure Yvette's going to make sure that I'm on my toes with him as well. Okay, thanks again, Jammers, and we want him to come in again, innit? In about
it'd be a pleasure. One thing I quickly say is that when you said about example, how am I going to do it? I didn't want to go to none of their organisations to learn how to speak, so I set up my own speakers club. I didn't want to be trained by any of them, so I've set up a talking academy so we can self-teach ourselves. So that's
right. That's right. Yeah. So I love the fact that, there's a few people out here in the community. They're not against anybody or any institution, but they are for their own dream, their own goal, their own ideas. And being pro or proactive, as I love to say, in the community is very vital. And instead of us talking about society helping us, why don't we help ourselves? Do what DS Jammers is doing. Help yourself to your own rice and peas. Don't wait for the neighbor to give you some, bacon and eggs. As DJ, that sounds like Candice. That sounds like DJ Candice. Do your own thing and get your own thing going. So thank you again from Yvette.
And thank you. It's been a pleasure to the station audience. So that taking you're going to be on the prosecution on Saturday. Then
I'm going to. I'm not going to commit myself, but I'm going to do my utmost to come down there. The reason being, because I know what I'm like already. I'm going to come down there and I want you to do that now. That's what it's all about. We need to be tested, we want to always come. But is the cameraman going to be there?
Cameraman's going to be there.
All my business mash up then. Listen, thanks for coming. As always, right, been very, very, very prominent. It's been honestly a great show this afternoon, London, a great show indeed, and we are, and you know what, I'm fed up of saying this, we say it too many times, we are, but we're going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back. The reason being, because I know him, all right, and so I can collar him when I want. We're going to bring him back, and we're going to, hopefully, I'm going to win the next argument. He's winning so far, so we're not going to leave it there. He's winning so far. Hopefully, I'm going to win the next argument. London, thanks. Jammers, thanks. Yvette, you want to say bye?
No, thank you. Thank you, listeners. Take care. Bye. And we want to mention that DJ Candice is at home sick, so she couldn't make it today. But we love you, and we hope to see you next week, my darling. Peace and love.
Can I say words?
StationFM.ning.com 25 years and still setting the pace for others to follow.